welcome guys to our session. I'm going to wait a couple of seconds until my colleague will be also here with us. Yeah, perfect. All right, so welcome guys. I'm very happy to have you on board on behalf of International Welcome Centre Utrecht Region and also on behalf of Undutchables Recruitment Agency. We are going to give a fantastic seminar in a couple of minutes. Beforehand, I would like to just summarize the rules of this webinar. Please write down all of your questions because in the end of this session, we are going to take a question and answer window and time where we can really answer all of your questions. Also, during the presentation, you may use the question and answer window if you have. And just for information, this webinar is being recorded. Oh, my colleague is also here. I'm very happy to welcome my colleague as well, Yasmin. She's the co-host also for this presentation. So again, this webinar really is recorded and we will send email to you in case you have any questions and we didn't have the time to answer your questions by the end of this webinar. All right, so this topic today, we are going to talk about integration, the Dutch culture and job hopping. Again, I would like to say thank you to International Welcome Centre of Utrecht Region that we can, that we are being hosted through you, and it is a great pleasure for us to present ourselves through you. This is the agenda for today, but before I start, I would like to present myself. My name is Judith, and I'm working as a recruitment consultant at Undutchables Recruitment Agency, and I'm working in the Amsterdam office. I'm already working here for 2 years. Today is my second anniversary, so I'm very happy and proud to announce this. And I'm not alone here today. As I mentioned already, my colleague is also here, Yasmin. Jasmine is going to also introduce herself right now.
Thank you, Judith. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to this presentation. I work actually as a recruitment consultant as well. I am located at the Eindhoven office, and I've been part of the Undutchables family since last December. So I'm really happy to be here. And by the way, congratulations, Judith.
Thank you so much.
I'm really happy for you. So we are going to try to do our best today to provide you as much as knowledge and as much as information as we can. So I hope that you guys enjoy this webinar.
Yes, thank you so much to your word, Yasmin. And yeah, guys, just fasten your seatbelt and enjoy. So I would like to first of all introduce you Undutchables Recruitment Agency. We are more than 24 years actively on the Dutch labor market, helping internationals and expats who are living in the Netherlands. As you may see, we have 4 offices in the Netherlands. So we have one in Utrecht, we have one in Amsterdam, one in Eindhoven, and one in Den Haag, which is also responsible for the Rotterdam area. And we also have since now, for 2 years now, we have an office in Sweden and Stockholm. We are basically, our mission is to help internationals who are living in the Netherlands or who are already planning to move from abroad to the Netherlands, finding commercially oriented office jobs. So people who are basically do not speak yet Dutch, but they do speak English and also in other languages. We are focusing to provide jobs for you guys, again, office jobs in the field of administration, customer service, sales, marketing, finance, logistic related or supply chain related positions. And all of our available vacancies are online. So if you go to undutchables.nl, you may register with us and you may see all of the available vacancies there. So I would like to also a bit talk about the steps, the 6 steps that we are basically taking into consideration when we are getting in touch with a candidate. First of all, when I mentioned to you, you may go to undutchables.nl where you are going to register yourself and create your own account. So it's basically you will upload your maximum two pages of English CV and briefly some information about yourself. After registration, you are going to receive a welcome email, and that allows you to start apply for jobs that are available at our webpage. We are going to receive your application. Every recruiter has their own clients and therefore their own vacancies. So you may be in contact with various recruitment consultants. So once we receive your application, we are going to either way get in touch with you in case we think that your skills and work experience are relevant and great to fulfill the position that has been advertised. We are going to get in touch with you and we are going to have a roughly 10 to 15 minutes telephone conversation where we are going to talk about your ambition, why did you apply for the role, just to screen whether you indeed suitable candidate for the role. Afterwards, our second step is inviting you nowadays for an online Skype interview. Before COVID-19, it happened in person. Hopefully we will be able to start with that soon, where we are going to have a maximum 60 minutes of interview where we get to know each other, when we really go through your work experiences. Why did you move to the Netherlands? What is your motivation? What kind of jobs you look for, your salary expectations, and so forth, which allows us to basically create, beside your CV, a summary of your work experience and ambition. So together with your CV and this profile, let's say so, we are going to introduce you to the clients, and we are going to manage the hiring process with the client on that moment on. You may be invited for an interview. Nowadays, it is happening first and the second step online, and you may go to the office to get to know the office environment and also the culture and the people who are working there, and then you may be invited to the office. After the interview session, you will be hearing from us if you are going to get hired or not. I would like to also emphasize that during this hiring procedure, so Undutchables Recruitment Agency and the recruitment consultants will be supporting you, and the recruitment consultant is responsible for the whole onboarding process. So you will be definitely supported by them. All right, let's get started. Yes, integration and the Dutch culture.
Thank you, Judith. So we are going to discuss a few points regarding to these topics. The first point is integration examination. As you know, guys, most of the non-EU countries need to get through kind of like an integration process. This is well known as in the inburgering exam. During this process, you will get knowledge about the country, culture, customs, geography, language, way of working as well. So now this is almost together with the second point, the language. As I mentioned in the video, I made a vlog about the integration. The first year that you are here, everyone understands that you are foreigners, that you are new in the society. However, after the second year, it's important that you guys try to put a little bit effort or to learn in learning the language, let's say. That will help you not only to integrate yourself better in the society, but also will help you or increase your chances to get a job. And now you can also watch the video. During the video, I mentioned a few things regarding to the Dutch culture. So I will just mention that quite quickly, because at this moment we would like to focus more on the professional of the way of working, let's say. So as you guys know, we have also here hierarchies as in the rest of the countries. However, the power distance is lower, which means that everything is open to discussion. The Dutch people are really open to conversations. They are really direct, straightforward at the moment that they would like to communicate something. So this will help you in case that you have something to discuss, if you feel uncomfortable with something, if you have ideas about new projects or new things to do, new challenges, you can always approach to your manager, to your superior, and they are always open to discuss anything. So about rules and regulations, we have two things that we would like to share with you. The first one is about the contract. Since the 1st of January of 2020, we are working under a specific rule regarding to the contracts. The rule is 3x3. It's called like that because the companies are allowed to offer you three contracts between 3 years, something like this. So the meaning of the companies is to keep you long term, as the point below it mentions. All the opportunities and all the commitment is always with the purpose of offers you like a permanent contract. That's the thing. As I mentioned before, the second part of the rule and regulations, all the employees are really well protected here. So we work under the Dutch labor law.
Yeah.
Now we have everything is open to discussion. As I mentioned before, if you have something to discuss with your manager, with your supervisor, you can always approach to them. They are open for conversations. And the last point is really important, qualification versus experience. So here in the Netherlands, Dutch people are more cautious or they take a quick look, or let's say it's more heavy if you have years of experience. They don't take a look at how many years you have been studied or if you have some kind of preparations. Everything here is about the skills. If you want to change careers, the recruiter or the manager or the superiors are going to take a look at your skills. If you fit with the role, then there's a big opportunity or a huge chance to get the job. So, thank you, Judith.
Yeah, thank you, Yasmin. I just thank you for your explanation. Just wanted to go back quickly summarizing the 3x3 rules, just to summarize it. So it's about a company is offering to you a direct contract. In the first 3 years, a company has the right to offer to you maximum 3 times of temporary contract. So in the first 36 months, you will receive a direct contract from the company, but it's going to be a temporary one. So it means you may get a 7-month loan contract or a 10-month loan contract, or maybe after 2 times of having a temporary contract, they decide to offer for you an ongoing contract. But just to clarify again, in the first 3 years of employment, you have the right, the possibility to receive a temporary contract.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. I'm going to talk about the work permit. It's a very, very interesting and important step of your integration, finding a job, and also even if you want to relocate from abroad to the Netherlands. When do you need a work permit? All candidates actually need a work permit who are coming from not the European Union. So what does that mean? We already specified for you. So expats from the European Union and also from the EEA region. So it's like Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Norway. These are the group of people who do not need anything to be eligible to work in the Netherlands. The rest of the population of the world must have either a residence permit or a work permit. So we actually highlighted a couple of ways to obtain a work permit. What I would very much first advise you, please go to www.ind.nl. It is the Immigration and Naturalization Service, it's an institute of the government who is responsible for answering all of your work permit, residence permit related questions. Or I would also advise you to contact your local embassy, which is in the Netherlands, to get more information whether you need a work permit or a residence permit in order to work in the Netherlands. So the first way of receiving a work permit is basically your company is going to apply for it. What does that mean? Your employer has to be a recognized sponsor by the IND. It is best to talk, if you're going to apply directly for a job at a company and not through an agency, it is best to ask the client itself, are you a recognized sponsor by IND? In case yes, then basically they are able to meet all of these criteria of onboarding people who need that work permit. The second possibility is whether you have, and this work permit that you need if your company is going to apply the work permit for you, it's called the highly skilled migrant work permit. So you need to get more information about it by ind.nl, because they are also explaining the variety of those work permits. The second is when one of your partners, your partner is from an EU country, he or she is already living in the Netherlands, or also would like to just move to the Netherlands to work, and that's a person who will basically be the sponsor of her or his partner. Basically, it's called the partnership visa. The partnership visa, when you have a partner and the partner is basically entitled to get also a work permit for you. And there is the third point, the type of work permit. This is the third year permit. This is basically the moment when you're going to graduate, and after graduation at one of the Dutch universities in the Netherlands, and also one of the European institutes and universities in Europe are able basically to, they are on the list. And if you check that list, and if your university is standing on the list, you may apply for the third year permit, which is the duration of 1 year. So basically it allows you to orientate during this 1 year and find a position, a job in the Netherlands that allows you to work until your work permit expires. Again, I would like to emphasize, these are just one of the types of the work permits that have a relation in case you would like to apply for a work permit. But more information will be actually published at ind.nl. Yes.
Super, thank you. So, all right, we are going to talk right now about the ways to find a job. The first one is applying via an agency like us. Why is this? This is really common in the Netherlands. This is the easiest way. Why? Because we have the knowledge about the Dutch labor market. We also have the contact details of companies, and also we can do the work for you. What do I mean with doing the job, the work for you? Well, we are going to be in charge of the recruitment process, as Judith mentioned before. All the steps that we get through until we introduce you to one of our clients. If we have a job opening, we will also contact you. So the recruitment process will be done by us. And also the contact between you and the company, we will also do it. Now, there is also another thing that is also important to consider, useful guidelines, which means that we can provide you extra information about the company, about the contact person, the location of the company, in case that you need to prepare yourself with anticipation for the interview, or if you don't know exactly where the company is, we can also help you with that, and with extra questions that you have. The second one is apply directly at the company through their website. This is kind of common. As you know, most of the companies, they have a section on their websites where they share the job openings. And then you can find there all the job openings that they have, and they share sometimes the contact details as well. You can find the telephone number from the person, from the contact person, the email address. So you are free always to apply directly. The number 3 is useful websites such as Expatica, Together Growth, Indeed, I Am Expat NL. Those websites, we have a partnership with them. So you can also see our job openings posted there, or also their own job openings as well. You can also use social media, LinkedIn, Google, Twitter, as I mentioned in the last webinar that we share with you on Undutchables, actually. LinkedIn is a Facebook for the professional purpose. So please, now that at the moment is everything taking place online, try to use LinkedIn for new contacts, for applying for jobs, for follow your companies. The most of like if you are interested, for instance, in a particular company, take a quick look there, follow them, take a quick look at the jobs, and you can also apply. Every time that the company posts a job opening on LinkedIn, you can have access to the contact person. So then you can even send a private message or apply directly online. The fourth one is one of the common, and I think is the easiest way of applying for a job: open application and cover letter. The open application is also tricky, but I would like to suggest, if you are going to send an email as an open application, always mention what kind of job would you like to do. For example, if you are a specialist in marketing, online, digital marketing, let's say, what you will do is, dear HR team, dear recruitment team. If you have the name of the person, please put it always with the last name. Refer to them as a Mrs. or like Mr. Jansen, let's say. My name is Jasmine Sprunk. I'm looking for new opportunities, new challenges as a digital marketer, recruiter. Please consider my open application. See my CV and my cover letter attached. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Best regards. And then you can share the CV and also the cover letter. The cover letter should be short. There you can please mention why would you like to become part of the company? Why would you like to work as a digital marketer, or maybe as a recruiter, or the position that you are looking for? And also give a little summary about your background. For example, I have a background, an extended background in customer service, in administration, as a content creator, something like this, something related to marketing, something that helps you. You can also use keywords, and this will help you. And you can also put, again, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Please consider me for this position. Best regards, Jasmine Sprunk. So I hope this helps you.
Yeah. Thank you, Yasmin.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Yes. Yeah, social media. It's especially since COVID-19 situation, it's very, very emphasized, and also in the labor field. because everything is happening online. I think it's very important to stop for a moment and be conscious about this importance, because since everything is happening online, it is important how you're going to represent yourself on various social media channels. So what already Yasmin mentioned to you is, for instance, LinkedIn is a professional way of connecting future employers, applying for jobs, and also broaden up your own network. It's very important that when you are going to create your own LinkedIn account, or if you have already your existing account, that all of the information that is being published there is basically parallel or is the same content what you're going to write down on your CV. Why? Recruiters, HR managers, hiring managers are actively using LinkedIn. We are recruiting candidates through LinkedIn. We are always getting in touch with also employers through LinkedIn. For instance, if I'm going to receive an application, I'm reviewing your CV. However, I often also check on LinkedIn, your LinkedIn profile, because I want to get some answers to my questions of why. Also, if you are going to, use Facebook, well, I think it's really a personalized private account. We, Undutchables recruitment agency, and I really believe everyone in the HR field officially do not use Facebook to recruit candidates or check candidates' profile. So it's very important for you to notice. However, try to be also conscious about what you're going to publish over there, or what kind of photos are you going to use, because for instance, if you're going to just type your name in a Google search, you get all of the photos published that is basically related to your name. So just want to say that everything is really related to online, everything is really connected to each other. So again, we only use LinkedIn, and this is a very professional platform. Using Facebook, Twitter is really personal one. Should not happen that you are being considered for a role based on your Facebook profile. But again, just wanted to emphasize the importance of using those accounts, and that is actually a visible account actually. I would advise you, if you have a LinkedIn account, or if you're going to have a LinkedIn account, try to specify your interest. Try to follow companies that you think that they would be a potential employer for you. Why? Because once you get for a personal or an online interview with them, you can already have an icebreaker of talking about what happened with them in the past 3 years, or for instance, how they have been affected due to COVID-19. And this is always a really good start of a conversation, but also for the employer, it gives you a picture of, wow, this candidate is well prepared. This candidate knows a lot of essential information about our operation and about our history. So it definitely shows interest to the employer. And this is what you should always aim if you're going for an interview, that you are showing your best and showing that you have not only interest but knowledge about the company. So I would advise you try to also follow companies, build your own network, connect with people over there, because like also what already Yasmin said, everything is happening online. I already mentioned that try to use the same content of your CV as you use at your LinkedIn account. If you go to LinkedIn account, you can switch your personal account to be visible for recruiters. So what does it mean? If I'm going to search on LinkedIn, I'm going to get a result of candidates who switched or who turn on that if a recruiter is looking for them, they will be appearing in the search. It's very easy, and even LinkedIn actually is going to ask you, do you want me to turn this on? So I would say yes, because it's a very nice way to be visible for recruiters on LinkedIn accounts. Also, very good point to mention that if you're going to actively use your LinkedIn account, and if you have a couple of years of work experience, you may contact your former employer or former team members and ask a referral about yourself. And they can write this down on your own LinkedIn account. So it's going to appear as a reference. So if future employers are going to visit your LinkedIn account, they are also going to be able to read about these references, which is very essential for future career opportunities. Thank you.
Right. So now we are going to give you some tips. And we will mention some points that are really important and relevant at the time that you write and create a CV. The first one is personal details. It is important that you keep in mind that you need to share 4 things at the moment that you create your CV. The first one is your name and your last name. Second one, telephone number. Third one, email. And the fourth one, the most important, the city where you are located at the moment. Why? Because in case that you need to relocate yourself in the Netherlands, we need to know how easy for you will be and how fast that can be. And it's also important for the company to know. So at the moment as you share the city or your current location, please also
I
also
lost
mention countries.
Yes, yes. Sorry, could you please repeat the last 2 sentences, because the connection
Oh yeah, I see that
not...
the connection went away, right? Oh, sorry.
Yes.
So can you hear me well?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So as I mentioned before, I will mention the 4 things that you need to share with the recruiter, or at the moment that you create a CV. The first one is your name and last name. The second one, telephone number. Third one, email address. And fourth one, and the most important, the current location, which means that please share your current location, the city where you are located at the moment, and also the country. This will give us an idea if in case that you need to relocate yourself in the Netherlands, we will have a better idea how fast that can be and how easy for you will be to relocate yourself. Also, it's an important information for the company. So these 4 points, please keep in mind at the moment that you create a CV. Now I forgot to mention something. There are a few things that we recommend not to share or not to put on your CV. The first one is the photo, and the second one is the BSN number. As you guys will share your CV with a lot of companies, you have it's like a huge chance that somebody can mistreat your personal information, and that is a sensitive information, a really sensitive information. Please do not put your BSN number on your CV. Also the picture, we mentioned that you can also share it or not. If you decide to share the photo, the picture, please choose a professional picture because otherwise, if you put, for example, a picture on the beach or something, then it won't fit with the CV, the personal direction that we would like to show. It won't match with the things that you would like to share, or yeah, it won't fit with your CV actually. Now, one of the things is we suggest not to share the picture, not only because of if it's a professional picture or not, but this means that we don't want to have a miscommunication, or we don't want to miss something on the CV. It's not that we will take decisions about the picture that you will share on your CV, but this is not relevant to get the job. So you can decide if you want to share the picture or not. However, we advise you not to do it. This is not relevant for any recruiter at the moment that we take a decision if you are applying for a job or not. So I will now talk about the personal summary. It's important that you keep the summary within maximum, I will say, maximum 3 lines. Please mention your background. Always keep it professional. Mention the background that you have. If you have, for instance, experience on sales, marketing, business development, account management, customer service, everything that you have mentioned there. And also, please try to put a few skills and play a little bit with the information. Why do I say this? Because we as recruiters and also companies, we have a few minutes to screen your CV. So it's important for us to get a concrete information. So please keep it short, keep it assertive, keep it really concrete, and then that will help a lot to the recruiter to have a better idea about your background. Now, work experience. This is an important point that I would like to make a little bit emphasis. The work experience. We as recruiters and companies, or everyone who deals with CVs, we screen the CV quite quickly, and we go from the top to the bottom, which means that try to keep your CV on a chronological way. And this is the last job that you had or the current job that you have, put it always in the top. So then we will have a better idea. Put also dates and from where to where did you work there and what kind of things did you do. Try to keep it short. Then the size or let's say that the recommended size of a CV is within 2 pages. So please put the experience that you had the last 10 years. This is really relevant. This is the most relevant information that we look at. So if you have, for instance, if you have done something like 11 or 12 years ago, you can just put some like a really line, or even not. We recommend you, we advise you not to do it. Just keep it short, focus only in the last 10 years, and then please share that with us. Now, about the skills. If you have skills, if you are going to change careers, if you are looking for a particular position, please use the skills as kind of like keywords. In case that you are looking for a new challenge in administration, in sales, put skills, good listener, administration, kind of like customer communication, management, something like this that will help to the recruiter to kind of like match the skills with the job opening and with your CV. That is the most important thing. Also, you can mention a few skills on your personal summary that will also help us to read quite quickly and have a better idea about your profile. Reference, you can put it, but we advise you not to do it. Why is this? Because you will share, if you write references, you know that you write down the name of the person, the city, the telephone number, the email address, and then also can help you sometimes in a positive way, but also in a negative way. What we suggest to do is you can put a reference in the bottom or on the CV, but mention open to request, which means that in case that the recruiter asks you for some recommendations then or references, of course that you are always welcome to share that with us. But please keep it as an open to request. Now, hobbies. This is also kind of tricky. the hobbies are most of the times extracurricular things that you enjoy to do, such as reading, running, dancing or something. But imagine that you are applying for, or even though cooking or something like this. My colleague Judith shared that on the last webinar that she have done about the CV workshop. Think about this example. You share hobbies as cooking, some baking, cooking, whatever, something like this. If you are applying for an administrative role, then there is no match. You know, if you are applying for an administrative role, you can say, I love to work as a helping people, let's say. I like to listen people. I love to be surrounded by people. Something like this that will help. But if you share something like, I like to cook, I like to run, then it doesn't match with the position, with the role that you are looking for, then just skip it. It's always up to you, but we recommend you not to do so. So if you want more tips, if you want deeper information or extra information regarding how to write or how to create a strong CV, please visit our CV workshop on YouTube, and then you can find extra information there.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you, Yasmin. And yeah, indeed, this is actually an example of a CV. So this is basically what Yasmin just already mentioned to you. This is the summary of a CV. This person decided to put his photo on a CV. It's optional, again, just to decrease the chance of being selected by a really nice photo. We do not recommend to use it because every CV must be, every person of candidate must be considered based on skills and work experience and not based on photo. Again, it's your decision. We would advise not to do so. But this is again a summary of what Yasmin just mentioned to you. You can see the work experience with chronological order, the personal details, the skills on the left side, what is the interest. For instance, this person is a bartender, so he put on interest as wine, culinary food, and festivals, which is all relevant for this function. And also the language skills. And please always put language skills on your CV, especially if you're going to subscribe with us or register with us, because we would like to know what is the level of the languages you are speaking. Thank you, Yasmin, again.
Thank you. So, yeah, I will give you some tips about the do's and don'ts while you are creating a CV. Do's, keep it short and simple. As I mentioned before, please keep the length within 2 pages. As I said before as well, recruiters and companies have just a few minutes to screen quite quickly your CV. So keep it simple. Use bullet points. This is something that I always suggest during even intakes that I have with candidates. Bullet points are quite easy to read and also will help you to save a space at the moment that you create your CV. Use small and short sentences to describe your function, and that will be simple and that will keep you within 2 pages as well. Describes your task accurately. This can be together with the using bullet points, including voluntary work, internships. This is also important in case that you have no job at the moment. If you are doing some voluntary, please just share it with us on your CV. Internships as well. If you are recently graduated, please, is also important. Make it personal. Always talk on first person. I have done this. I administrate this. I organized this. Not we organize, because this it will kind of lose the meaning of writing the CV. Start with a personal statement, emphasize your most relevant experience. As I mentioned before, use a chronological way to write down your CV. Put the current or the last job that you had at the bottom, at the top, sorry, and that will help us to have a better idea about what you recently have done. Then mention what you did if there is a gap on your CV. This is really interesting. I have mentioned already a few candidates before. We don't take any decisions regarding to the gap. However, it's relevant to know what happened during that period. Why? Because please do not forget that we are foreigners. We haven't been here. We don't have any job history here. Nobody knows us. So it's kind of tricky, this. However, it is important that you explain what happened if you took, for instance, a sabbatic year, or if you rest for 1 year, if you travel for 1 year or for a few months, please put it. And then why? Because during interviews, not only with us as recruiters or also agencies or companies, they will always ask you, what happened from here to here? What happened during these 2 years? Can you tell me a little bit more? Please do not misunderstanding this. It's not that we will take the last decision based on the gaps. However, it's important to understand a little bit more about your background. Now, check thoroughly for errors. Please, when you write your CV, especially if you are not native English speakers, please ask somebody who can help you with the grammar, with the right to avoid mistakes, and that will help you to look professional. Have your CV checked by a native speaker, as I mentioned before. Try to avoid errors. References, open requests, as I mentioned before. Please do not share references on your CV. Don't include sensitive information, personal information, such as BS number, ID, passport. As you know, you will share your CV with a lot of people, so your information can be mistreated. Please avoid to do that. Do not put salary on your CV. Why? Because in case that the company is offering more money and or less money, then can be also kind of like a misunderstanding, and it doesn't look professional, believe me. Here in the Netherlands is common that you talk about salary after the interview or after the first contact with the agencies. Now, please do not put an unprofessional picture. This is really the wrongest thing that you can do. Try to keep it professional, as you saw the picture before on the CV that we show you guys as an example, where a special shirt or a nice blazer, or try to look professional. That will help you a lot. Do not write the reason of leaving the company. We don't need to know. That will give like a negative impact at the moment that you write a CV. We always discuss this during the first intake, so please just keep it personal and do not lie. This is the most important thing of the don'ts. Why? Because it is not only that this is your professional professional picture. This is your professional career, what we are talking about. In case that you are applying for a particular position and you lie on your skills or something at the moment that the company hires you and you won't perform correctly, then you will be in trouble. So please put the right information, share with us all the things that you have done correctly. And if you have any question, if you don't know if you should put extra information or not, you can always discuss it with the recruiter. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. The last chapter, job hopping. I'm very happy and proud to talk about this topic. Why? Because this is a very, very important and very sensitive topic nowadays for employers, but also for candidates. And I thought it's very nice to talk about it a little bit for you to understand what does an employer think about job hopping, and actually what does it really mean nowadays, and how you as a candidate can work with it, how you can approach this during your application. Before I really explain what does job hopping mean, I thought it's the best way to approach it from a historical approach. So I made a little bit of research about generations, and also I took some time of understanding that economy of that generations. How was the economy by them nowadays, and also how the economy will look like in the future. So because this is basically the base of the various behavior and patterns of generations. So starting with the generation X, this is my parents' generation, who are basically, grew up with working for a company for several decades or longer. It already meant to be engaged with the company. For instance, I already know a person who, after graduation, started working for a company, and now he's 68 years old, and he had 40 years of employment at one company. This is really a Generation X person. But it also means that basically companies by then was really financially stable. It was a very stable economy by then. So that also basically enabled the candidates or the employers to be loyal for a company for that long. So these are the Generation X, who are between 65 and 80. They were born by then. Because they had such a balanced way of working, they were also able to adjust their private life to that working life. So they had therefore a really balanced work life by them. They called the word citizens because they were working, they were having their same routine, they were going home at the same time, they're catching the same train, they are, for instance, I don't know, you may have already colleagues who is always going a certain time to get a coffee, or going to the bathroom. So these are the patterns that is like really balanced. Well, it's in the routine, let's say. These are the word citizens. However, they are very competitive. So because they are very loyal for a client or for a company, they feel very personally attached to the client or the employer, and therefore they are doing their best to do the best for the company. Now, in contrary to this, what we do experience nowadays, or in the past 20 decades, 2 decades in the economy, is that the economy become more flexible. It's possible to work abroad. The European Union is existing. You may go for a year to work in Australia and travel. So everything become more like there's no distance anymore in the world. So let's say everything become more flexible. Also on the labor market in the Netherlands as well, there are a lot of possibility to work part-time. You may apply for a job if someone goes for a maternity leave, or for instance, there is a person who is sick for long term and there is a need for temporary cover. So in this sense, the whole economy become more flexible, and also there is a lot of job opportunities therefore on the market. And so these are the generation, also myself, who partially or eventually, partially grew up with the internet. We got to know really the advantage of having internet at home. And so we were able to browse the whole world through a computer. So basically, our opportunities are much, let's say, broader than our parents' choices was by then. So basically, because you've got a lot of opportunities to work for startup, for scale up, for corporate, you've got just more intention and maybe more ambition to try out yourself for different job field, but also different roles. So in this sense, the millennials are basically described as job hoppers, as you're switching roles frequently. But again, I will come back to that in a couple of minutes, why job hoppers is so sensitive nowadays. So, but at the same time, our generation is actually very keen on mobility. We are very flexible. We do not mind working maybe an hour extra. So we are really flexible on the demands of the market and of the employer. However, we are also the generation who wants to get, of course, a compensation back, like working from home a day. Okay, nowadays we are working from home, working at flexible times because I want to go to do CrossFit, or I want to catch my train to go and do my favorite yoga lesson. So we are more the generation who wants to do the win-win situation with an employer and a current job. And also socially, we are much more aware of what is happening around us and also vocally. So thanks to social media. But just looking at the future, and also nowadays, the teenagers who you are actually meeting on the street, and basically the people who are, in between 12 to 16 years, the teenagers, they are the Generation Z. So they are completely, grew up with an internet. I don't know, you already see babies playing with an online game with an iPad. This is really happening, and they are the digital natives. So just got some information here. They are the most connected, educated, and sophisticated generation ever. For example, they prefer cool products over cool experience. So they are going to be much more materialistic. These are the people who are going to have jobs that is actually a lot of, like, a combination of a lot of roles. It's called job crafting. So for instance, there will be a person who is the office manager, but maybe also going to be responsible for networking events. So these are, again, basically turning around the whole supply and demand on the labor market. They are very critical and selective, and they are very geeks, technical geeks, IT people. So I just wanted to tell you, because you are going to be the future employer for this generation, to keep this in mind and think about when they are going to come for an interview for you, what is their perception of the world. And the reason why I'm saying this, because our generation, and I'm really personally feeling it as well, well, not now because I'm just celebrating my 2 years anniversary, but because I'm helping people right now in the job labor market, that we are, Generation Y is being considered as job hoppers purely because we have much more job opportunities in the market. I read an article and it says job hopping literally means if someone who works briefly in one position after another, rather than staying at any one job or organization long term. This is a behavior pattern of changing companies every year or two. These are nowadays people who are aged between 20 to 34. So just want to say this for you because an employer point of view, it's a sensitive topic, but from your side, I think it's very important to understand that that you can explain yourself at an interview, that no, I'm not a job hopper, I'm not changing job because I wanted to try out myself in another company, let's say, but because, for instance, I had a temporary job because one of the person at the company had a maternity cover. So you need to be really active and aware during this interview and try to explain yourself why you are not a job hopper. Okay, I got two examples of employers' point of view. One of them, it says, well, it takes a lot of time, effort, and resources to find talented people to do great work. And when an employer finds them, they certainly don't want them to just pass through. So for instance, be conscious if you are going to apply for a role and you want to stay on board for the long term, that's great. But at that point, you also need to consider, this is really a job what I would like to do for a couple of years, because the company thinks you are, we are investing time and money in you to train you, and we would like to keep you on board. So please don't go away after 1 or 2 years because we just invested so much time and money in you. This is a negative example of how employers approaching job hopping. The positive, one of the other employers says, it's a positive one. It says, some companies appreciate the drive of job hoppers to constantly grow and build their career, or the desire of previous companies to hire them. So for instance, you can turn this whole job hopping around and saying, okay, I've worked a couple of years here. I've worked 1 year at the company B, and at the company C, I've worked half year. But all of the skills and experience I have gained during this time can be implemented at your company. So it's better to take me than rather a person who worked 10 years at a company and basically that person was not having the possibility to gain that much insights, work experience, skills than you, let's say. So these are the pros and cons about job hopping. And it's already 3 o'clock, so I'm going to speed up a bit. Again, it's a recorded seminar, so everything will be, you will be able to download this webinar. So don't worry, you're not going to miss any information. So the pros of job hopping is that you have the opportunity to gain new skills and experience by going for another company on every second year or 3 years or whatever. You have the possibility to build your own network, and this is such a great treasure because the more people you know, the stronger network you have. So in case you want to switch or you want to find another job or you want to help your friends, you will be able to browse from your networks. You are also able to understand the variety of working environments. And so you are also able to understand which work environment suits you the best and basically choose the next employer according to that. You will be definitely able to take new responsibilities because as you're growing in your role, you're going to be able to prove that you're able to take more responsibility as well. And you are a beneficial for the companies as you have your gain work experience and skills is basically, yeah, it's great to have that asset with you on board for the company. So what I want to say, emphasizing about job hopping, so it's like cons, is like be conscious about your work history, and so try to understand that if you work for a company less than a year and it is happening in a role that you must get a red flag from the recruiter or from the hiring manager, but it's definitely something that is going to be discussed during your phone screening. Why is this happened? So try to be conscious about this and try to remember that this is definitely a red flag. Company size, again, it's more like if they see you changing jobs every second year and this would be your third employer, you may get the question why I should hire you if you may leave me in 2 years. So try to understand this way of thinking as well and try to then prepare yourself at the interview like, okay, these are the reasons why you should take me on board. So try to always turn it around. What is also important for you to be conscious about is that if you're really leaving jobs on 2 or 3 years, it's okay, but you're not going to be able to build up an actual results of your accomplishments. So for instance, if you're working with sales targets, and if you leave in the second year, you were not able to basically learn what you learned the job, but also to prove your results on a yearly basis, because simply you will just you will just leaving the company. So there's not possibility to actually show what you can do. And also, I'm experiencing that some candidates has a series of negative emotions because you may already get a stamp on your CV that, oh, this person may be a job hopper. And so I always try to turn this around by an employer. But if I say the truth to the candidate and the feedback, then indeed it's hard to cope with this feeling of being rejected purely because in the past two work employers were maybe not the best job that suits your skills or the right culture. And so it's sometimes a rejection. So it's also good to understand that it's sometimes it's just not things that they are going to work out for you. Yeah, so again, try to if I were you, try to use job hopping as a positive thing for the company, like why you are not a job hopper, and try to ask them why do you think that you're a job hopper? Try to actually address this whole interview as a conversation, for instance, to understand what does job hopping means to you and who I am. So always be honest, know your talents, know yourself, know what you want, know what you are looking for at your next job and your next employer, culture-wise, job-wise, really. So try to measure your factors. And the last slide, do's and don'ts. Say, yeah, really, please, do you have a good reason for leaving a company? Because it's very important that you also basically know why you're going to leave the company and what is really the reason that your decision is that you leave the company, like why, like, so try to be reasonable. The reason is that it's very important that you are not going to burn the bridges once you leave the company, but you actually try to open up your network and make it alive, let's say, your network and your previous employer. Don't apply for other jobs purely because of the money, because for long term it's very important that you like what you're doing. This is always must be the first rule, that you should apply for jobs and employers, you choose employers and because you like what you're doing for long term. And don't worry, everything that you are going to invest in your job will be definitely paid out also benefits wise. Again, please stay long enough on board, which enables you to develop skills and develop and to ensure you to make your whole accomplishments visible for the employer. So again, if you work with sales targets, try to be on board, 2, 3, 4 years, so you can have a proof track of record about your sales targets. I would never leave a company before you've got any value. So for instance, try to really develop your skills and try to get any value that can be beneficial for you in the future. And again, also think about the company culture, because not every company looks at for the first time as it is actually in real life. So if you go for an interview and you, for instance, want to change job because of the employer, try to really focus during the interview about what is the job, what is the culture, what kind of possibilities you have to develop, to try to get the essence and the feeling of the future employer, to see whether that could be really a good fit for you. And again, if you leave your current employer, try to do it in a professional way. Do not burn the bridges after you. And who knows, you may work again in 10 years, and it's always nice to just continue where it stopped. Well, I hope it was a really useful session for you. I myself enjoyed it very much, also together with Yasmin. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
to have you.
Thank you very much, Judith, for this amazing information. Thank you for sharing with us. And now we can go through the Q&A session because we have, I think we are running out of time, but we have a few questions. So probably we can start with the first one, Judith.
Yes. Sorry if you have already addressed this. My connection dropped a bit earlier. Are your services only available to people already in the Netherlands? No. Well, it depends really on the client. So it means that we are. If a client is open to candidate who is still living abroad and the candidate is able to relocate within a certain amount of time, I would say no, we are not only focusing on people who live in the Netherlands, but again, it depends on the client. So I would say if you see a position, try to apply for the role, try to connect to the recruiter and ask whether they are responsible, whether they are recruiting only within the Netherlands or are they open to candidates who live abroad, I would say. Thank you, Yasmin.
Perfect. The next one, good day, sorry, joined a few minutes late. Can I please have your email address to contact you directly? Yes, of course, Alta. My colleague in the background will write down again our email address. So in case that you would like to ask for something or get extra information, please feel free to contact us.
Yes.
Thanks.
Good day, sorry, joined a few minutes late. Can I please have your... Oh, sorry, that was already answered. Yes, mine?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Hester is asking, could you please tell us how far in advance we should start applying for jobs applications? For example, if you are planning to move to the Netherlands in April 2021, when we should make contact with you to start the recruitment process? Well, I do not know where would you moving from, because it depends also if you need a residence or a work permit or both. So if you're planning to move in April, I would say try the procedure to start the procedure around November, December. But again, it depends on your work permit. If so, I would say try to connect the IND in September to see what is your chances about next year. Perfect.
Perfect. Personal information, shall we mention the address or the city? Is no. Please just keep it private. Only mention the city and the country on your CV. Thanks.
Yes, awesome. Bradley is asking, in the current COVID-19 environment, what are the employers' view on considering candidates from outside the EU? I'm South African and I have applied for quite a few opportunities. Oh my God, more than 30, where I met and even exceeded the requirements from a qualifications and experience point of view, but I have not been invited to an interview as yet. I'm wondering if it's due to bad timing or another reason issue. Bradley Shortis. Yeah, so Bradley, and also dear people who are wishing us abroad. The thing is, speaking about my experience, I'm having some open applications with my clients, and they say for now, due to the COVID-19 situation, do not want to receive candidates outside of the Netherlands. They would like to primarily meet candidates who live in the Netherlands, because they don't want to take the risk in case you are going to be selected and invited for an interview as a person who still lives abroad, that you are going to fly into the Netherlands and you take the risk to get sick. And this happening because the company doesn't want to give the name and they doesn't want to take the risk for that to do so. So it's purely for you. And unfortunately, I experienced that candidates who live right now in the Netherlands has chances to basically being considered for the role. But again, this is my client opinion. I don't know, Yasmin, how do you experience that?
Yeah, me too. And actually, as if maybe you have heard something about the actual or the current situation regarding to the visas students and people had at the moment here in the Netherlands. It's kind of tricky to say. It's not only for the meaning of the contagious, but also, oh, can you hear me? Because I have a problem with the connection. Can you hear me, Judith?
Yes, yes, it was more like.
Okay, sorry. So yeah, it's more like the fear to get contagious, but not only that, is also that at the moment the Dutch labor market is kind of low, and the companies really don't know how the Dutch labor market will look like in the next couple of months. So also the borders, I know that, for instance, in a few countries are closed, so then can be kind of tricky to say. There's also the next question that is something like that. Is something related to the previous question. Hello, Diana here from South Africa. How would you recommend approaching the job hunt during this pandemic? Are Dutch companies less likely to sponsor high-skilled migrants visas? Yeah, actually, this is something like Judith mentioned before. We have the cases that companies prefer to hire people who are already located here, not only for the visa purposes, but also for the actual situation, let's say. It's difficult to say. We don't even know how the Dutch labor market will look like in the next couple of months. So the best thing to do is please contact us. We will keep you updated and we will see what we can do for you in the future.
Exactly. Thank you, Yasmin. And there is also a question from Kiran, how to explain gap in employment and in which section you can explain, especially if you are unemployed currently. Yeah, so so the gap, okay, let's say you have a work history and then you take a half year, 1 year gap year because you went to travel. I would say then write it down. I was traveling for a year. I want to, as a recruiter, I want to know what did you do in the past year. Or for instance, you also may mention, I took a sabbatical. Perfectly fine. Especially in Western Europe, this is a very normal, very common thing to do. So if you say sabbatical, people will understand. And but if you are currently unemployed and you have now, let's say you are already unemployed for a half year or a year, so already before COVID-19, that is also understandable. I would personally make it more visible, saying, okay, I was unemployed between, let's say, between last year, December and March. And now, due to the COVID-19 situation, it's hard for me to get back to the labor market. So I would say try to always be as much transparent as possible on your CV and explain yourself. Because when you explain yourself and when you give information about yourself, yeah, people will read that, people will understand that, and actually a lot of employers right now understand that you're unemployed, and in this time, in 5 years, it must be also understandable that you were unemployed for a while. So I would not worry about that. Thank you.
Super. We have one question from Lauren. I think that this will be the last one. We are really over time already, 20 minutes almost. So we will answer this question, but we have already your contact details. So we will send you the response of the questions by email. So let's go ahead with Lauren. Hello, thank you for the webinar. I'm planning on going to the Netherlands on a CPR visa. Will it be easier for me to look for a job from my hometown, South Africa, and go on a work visa, or apply from South Africa on a CPR visa, or look for a job in the Netherlands on my CPR visa? This is kind of tricky. I will say that, first of all, I need to know what kind of a status do you have at the moment, if you apply already for the visa and you get it, or if you are going to start with the process. we have the knowledge at the moment that the Suhyar visa is kind of in a process to be extended for a few people who are already who got already the visa here because of the pandemic situation with the COVID-19. It is difficult for people to find a job during this period. So please send an email to me. Even though I can contact you, I will like to hear more about your current situation. If you apply already for the visa or not, please let me know, because for both of situations are different scenarios. So then I will be happy to hear more from you. I think that we need to finish already this session. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Judith. It was such a nice time. We will answer you the questions later. Just one quick thing, I'm on holidays at the moment, but I will come back on Tuesday on my duties. Then you will hear from me.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Yasmin, so much. It was lovely working with you in this presentation. And I also would like to thank you to International Welcome Center of Utrecht region. Happy to be hosted through you and present Undutchables in this platform as well. Thank you so much, guys. It was lovely having you here. And yeah, please contact us. It would be nice to continue further helping you.
Yeah, definitely.
And stay safe.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye.